In the last month, we participated in Respawn Recruits. It's a recruitment challenge to become a partner for Respawn products. In my latest episode of By With Maverick, you know we had to interview someone special. Enter Austen Hydrated Ledesma. We had the pleasure of interviewing Austen and learning about his journey, along with his involvement with Respawn Recruits. It was an amazing night that we got to bring both of our communities together while offering insight to other Respawn recruits and what it takes to be a part of such an amazing challenge. Hydrated, thank you so much for the vibes, man. It was an amazing night, and I'm looking forward to collabs in the future. Everyone, be sure to show him some love. I'll put all of his links down in the description of the video. As always, we're open to suggestions on how we can improve this video for everyone. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, you guys. It would help grow the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Wingmen, happy Wednesday. Welcome to By With Maverick. Listen, you guys. This is one of my favorite things to do with streaming. Welcome in to all our new first-time chatters. I want to thank you, Love Raina Elegant, Rizzy, Astronaut, Busey Pride, and Hydrated for the follows off stream. You guys are all absolute legends. Listen, we have a banger set up today, and we are interviewing Hydrated himself. Should we get him in here? Should we get him in here, guys? Let's go for it. Hydrated, how are you, bro?
I'm doing good, Mav. It's a pleasure to be here. Like I said, this is something I was really excited for. So thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it.
I am super, super happy to have you here. And welcome in, Water Fam. Who is that? TTM Poppy? Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Wingmen. Listen, you guys, I am super excited to have Hydrated in here for many, many reasons. He is... You guys are coming in clutch today with the follows. Thank you guys so much. I did not know Hydrated too much before the last week, but for good reason, okay? I just joined up on a recent competition called Respawn Recruits, and I learned through this fun adventure that we're on that Hydrated is a previous winner of said competition. So tonight we're going to learn about him, we're going to learn about his journey and his involvement with Respawn Recruits and how that all went. Let's first start though, Hydrated. What, if you don't mind sharing, what's your name? Where did it all start? Give us a little insight as to the beginning of your journey.
Yeah, definitely, Mav. Again, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And this is kind of a good background story for even not only your viewers, my Water fam who really doesn't know much about me. So my full name is Austen Ledesma. I'm originally from the Bay Area in obviously California. That's where I grew up from, and then I went to a small city later on. But yeah, gaming has kind of always been with me. I was a big athlete when I was younger, playing football, basketball, and so on. About when I was 15 or 16 in high school, I had kind of, I guess you could strung quite a few injuries along the way. And needless to say, is gaming something is what I picked up on when I had extra time with those injuries. And it kind of just took flight from there. I started really gaming a lot when I was 13 or 14. Started competing in video games. I guess it's a very, I guess, deep background. I always call myself the most experienced small content creator as a joke, because I've kind of touched every different aspect of the industry I think you could touch for the most part. But yeah, I started off playing competitive Call of Duty when I was 15, and it kind of took off from there. Picked up content when I was about 16, 17, focused on competing until I was about 22, 23. Took a break from both competing and obviously retired from competing, and then took a break from content. And probably the end of 2020 during peak COVID time is when I really took a shot at it again. And needless to say, this is where the journey has taken us so far.
That's incredible, man. So you've been doing this quite a while. What got you into it aside from your love of gaming? Is that the reason why you began streaming per se, or content creation?
Yeah, so the love for gaming, I think it never went away, even when I took that break from, I'd say, like 23 to 25, 26 or so. I'm 27 now, and it's something that kind of stuck with me throughout this whole duration, and it continues to stick with me even to this day. Basically, when I did decide to make a more valiant return to not only gaming but also content creation, with peak COVID and whatnot, a lot of unfortunate events, a lot of sad events had happened throughout the throughout the last couple of years, not only with the state of the U.S. obviously, but obviously the whole world. So I wanted to kind of provide an outlook for people that really are going through those tough times, and provide a smile or two to a world that definitely needs it.
Absolutely, man. COVID is something that affected a lot of people, and we saw a peak or a rise in streaming or content creation. In fact, a lot of the people that I've interviewed on this podcast got their start from COVID because, why not? It's not the reason that I did it, but it's one of the reasons I stuck with it, because, like you said, showing people that joy, or giving them an outlet to enjoy something during such a hard time was truly. I see. Is that a cat in the background?
that is my dog. She's
your dog. Oh,
she doesn't shy away from any of the spotlight.
What's your dog's name?
My dog's name is Amira. She's a very important person on this channel. A lot of my viewers will acknowledge her.
As Love Raina did just now. But
exactly.
During height times of COVID, people chose to stick with this because it was such a rough time. So I 100% respect that, and I can relate to it too. It's really crazy that we've started to see kind of a decline in streamers and content creation as COVID kind of it dropped down, right? But COVID's still affecting many people. It's crazy to see that, or is it just me?
No, it definitely is, and I think that it's just a matter of the world kind of, one thing about COVID, and it's probably one of the worst pandemics in the history of the world, and it had some sad times, but it also, I think one thing that I was fortunate for was it gave me more extra time, especially to spend with family, to pick up a passion I kind of left behind in a way, and now I think that the world's kind of returning to. We're not fully there, especially with obviously people still being encouraged to get their shots and boosters, but I think that it's returning to somewhat of a normalcy around a lot of parts, and I think that normalcy is kind of bringing back a lot of stuff that that just, again, life presents to us. So I think it's just a matter of people getting back to their everyday lives, picking up whether it's more work, whether it's trying to catch up with family nowadays, or just being busy altogether. And I think that's what kind of led that decline of people having to kind of juggle everything at once.
Absolutely. Can we touch on the competition side of content creation? I imagine that was FPS. You're a heavy FPS content creator. I assume inspired by Call of Duty, but are there other games that led you to that competitive side of streaming, content creation, or gaming?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a plethora of different things. Obviously, I've always been a COD player, but I always tell people this is COD was the first FPS I touched. I went to a friend's house, played Call of Duty 4, and then me competing led to content creation. I'm sorry, what was that?
Who didn't go to,
I know, exactly.
That was such a thing to do on a Friday night, right? Go to your friends after school and just game all night.
Exactly, and then play split screen with them, and that's I think that's one of the first things that, and I'm sure speaking of the time, the devil, Mr. Blar in chat, he's one of the people that kind of introduced me to the competitive atmosphere of FPSs and whatnot. We would obviously bring, and this is another popular one a lot of people can down to is Halo. We would bring Halo over to each other's houses and whatnot, and play infamous split screen matches and whatnot. And granted, I wasn't the most touted FPS player, but I still enjoyed it. That kind of led to me looking up MLG videos back in the day when the circuit was really big, and just lighting that passion for competitive gaming kind of let me kind of represent the idea to content creation. And one of the things I wanted to relate that to is that competitive FPS is whether it's Call of Duty, Halo, even BRs to today, Apex, Fortnite. Well, not really Fortnite, rather obviously FPS, but there can be a lighter side to competitive gaming, and I think you can still show your enjoyment and passion behind it, and not necessarily the stressful rage induced FPSs that everybody comes to know and love. Yeah, so it's
I like the way you put that.
Right, so but no, so I just wanted to show that you can definitely have fun with the competitive side of FPSs, whatever game it is, and so that's kind of how I think the two intertwined and connected.
So I like to think that I'm a competitive COD player, right? I am getting better. I just had my best finish in a season of Rebirth. I finished with, I believe, a 2.3 KD,
Oh, that's awesome.
Which isn't good, the greatest, but it's not the worst either.
No, it's solid. Yeah. Definitely solid.
I am a bot. In fact, my channel is based off of trolling me as a bot player. She's moving the blanket in the back. That's awesome. Listen, guys, at any point, I know the water fam is coming in clutch today, but if you guys want to throw Hydrated some love, !hydrate, go show this man some support. He definitely deserves it. The best mediocre there is, absolutely, Mom. Thank you. You take pride in the lowest KD. I love it. So yeah, that drive to be better is kind of pushing me more towards a competitive nature. I always want to improve my gameplay because, Rush, thank you for that follow. Welcome to the Wingman. Being good is just another facet of the stream that people love to watch, right?
No, definitely.
It's not all about being good. It's not about being the best. It just makes it better sometimes.
No, I agree 100% because I've being in the space, I've ran into a lot of good, not just Call of Duty, but FPS players in general. And one thing they always try to do is because there is a good side to it is start content creation or streaming, and that's putting out TikToks, YouTube videos, or stream just as we both do. And they're very talented players. They can go into let's say a ranked game in Halo or Call of Duty and absolutely have their way, essentially, as to put it. Mm-hmm. They can go into a Warzone game. I follow people, I've interacted with Warzone players that have that 5 KD that play in all these invitational tournaments. But at the end of the day, like you said,
5 KD.
You're telling me, man. Warzone's a whole different beast. I always make the joke that Warzone it's COD, but it's also a whole different feel to the game. It's also like not COD. So but these players they're incredibly talented. They're great at what they do. But when you go into their streams, it's not that they don't have the personality. It's just they're not as lighthearted. They get very obviously into it. The games get intense, and their emotions show that. So I think obviously you can be as good as you want at the game, but there's still got to be some side of you that's very not essentially professional, because we're all unprofessional at times, but just a little bit lighthearted, showing that you generally enjoy what you're doing, have fun, and realize at the end of the day you're there to be an entertainer. So
100%. And to expand on that, if you don't mind, not only are the higher KD players more serious about the game, less lighthearted, but they don't engage that much, which you guys, thank you all for being here, first and foremost. I do want to apologize if I miss any messages or comments. This is about Hydrated. If you guys have any questions, feel free to chime in. We have channel points, or if you guys want to just throw them out there. This is about him and getting to know him tonight, so we're really excited about that. But to go on that point, they don't interact with their chat, their communities, and that's, I think, in my opinion, what streaming is all about. Our communities are who makes us, in my opinion. I don't know if you feel the same way. I'm assuming you do. It seems like you have a pretty awesome community behind you too.
No, I appreciate that. Your community's always got to, and I see Pappy put in chat, you always got to engage. I think one of the hardest things about being an FPS player is, especially like us two, we do get into it. There's it's just like you said, especially when we start getting better at something, we really want to kind of perform at the highest level we can. And being especially my main content is competitive Call of Duty. I do obviously go from game to game, but competitive Call of Duty, you really gotta stay locked in throughout, whether it's the whole duration of a search and destroy match or a hard point match. And but I do, and I've gotten really good at trying to engage even in the midst of those games. So it's just something you kind of got to learn. God, when I play,
I
Fortnite.
hate Fortnite, man.
God, dude, so do I. The no build has made it very bearable. Yeah. And I think the lightheartedness of Fortnite is something that a Call of Duty player or like a Halo player or even an Apex player can appreciate.
I can agree with that to a certain extent, but I gotta tell you, it's almost too cartoonish for me. You know what I mean?
It's very cartoonish, and I say this is Fortnite. It's very cartoonish for me. It's not what I was brought up on, not even close. It is the new era of gaming. There's so much money with it. But I do, the one props I will give it is culture-wise, there is no game that comes close to it. And there might not ever be a game we'll see again culture-wise that'll ever kind of compete with Fortnite. But yeah, like you mentioned, your community does reflect what you bring, and that's kind of one thing I try to preach. I throw little tidbits of kind of inspiration here and there during my streams, is that when you guys leave this chat and you go to somebody else's, especially somebody else that I know or we all know, present yourself as if you were in my stream or whatnot, or as if you guys are the ones streaming, because that's one of the things last year. And although, like I said, I know you mentioned it, and out of a technicality, I made the finals. I didn't, because those are 5 awesome content creators. I didn't, what was it, 4? I think it was 5 actually, technically. Because 4 got picked out of the 9 last year, and then it was 1 random person that was picked out of anybody that could have entered at the end of it. But one thing out of the top 9 last year that I spoke to a few of the old workers at Respawn that are currently on to obviously different opportunities, is that my community reflected something that they wanted to represent them. And I feel like that's very important, whether it's, like a name a few people like Azel, you can tell already, Reina's my wife, behind the scenes, all the sacrifices she makes, and that kind of represents what I'm able to do. Mo, Astronaut, Pabby, Riz, all these people that, even though they're in my chat and then we raid somebody else, when we do raid somebody else or host somebody else, I want that to be reflected upon 100%. My own content. So
100%,
yeah,
bro.
So because you never know who's watching, or you never know who can go into somebody's chat and then they're like, hey, I heard your viewer said this, or they acted like this, and when that's spoke about, I want that to be obviously in the best way possible. Mm-hmm. So you made a good point. Definitely your community does reflect it, and it's a big push forward in how you want your brand to be represented.
So let me get this straight. Lorena's your wife, you said?
Correct, yes.
So significant others and spouses for the win, 100%. It takes a huge support behind you to even begin to be successful at this. And if you're doing it for fun, you're likely going to run into different roadblocks, right? But if you're doing it because you have ambition and drive and you want to succeed and get better and be better and bigger, you need that support system behind you. So shout out to the significant others and the wives behind us in our corner, because without them, it wouldn't be possible. 100%.
No, absolutely. And I think that's one thing, I guess, just a short topic to touch on. I don't, obviously, like you said, team significant other, I don't think some people understand that, especially because she knows at this point that this is something that I want to make it as a career one day. It's not going to happen overnight, and it might not even happen in a few months, not even next year, but it is something I want to career in, and I don't think people understand, and you might be able to attest to this, is the amount of sacrifices that have to be made.
Many sacrifices.
Whether it's going past an hour past your initial ending time, quote unquote, which as FPS players we do, it's always one more game. I don't know if
for me, it's balancing the game time of wanting to be better at the game you're playing, or content creation, which you need to put out content elsewhere to be successful. 100%, I can relate to that on a million different levels.
Yeah, so there's just so many hours. It's I'm home from work, spend have dinner with the wife, spend some quality time with her for an hour, maybe up to 2, and then having to hop on stream and then do this throughout the night, hit the bed, and then kind of do it all over again. So it's just you appreciate the little things, because those little things kind of are stepping stones to where you want to be one day.
Absolutely. I'm glad that we touched on that. Let's talk about your ambitions, your goals of content creation. You said you want to do this full time eventually. What does that entail, in your opinion? What do you want to create of this eventually? What are your visions of being successful?
So my vision of successful is something that's kind of like, I guess, derivative or even derived just from my ambitions when I was younger. When I was younger, I stopped content creating and focused on competitive because I really didn't have the confidence that I have now. Whereas, throwing on a camera every day, providing the content to viewers, and being able for them to come in every day. But my goal, and what I'll look at as successful, is at least giving some people out there, whoever watches me, the safe space, the knowledge of where to go about it. This is something I want to pursue, and how to pursue it. And I think if you can do that, it's, again, because a lot of people they have such a hard time having that safe space or somewhere to go when they're down in down in the dumps, quote unquote. And it's really that's what I want to provide as a goal at the end of the day. Everything, obviously, I do want to be able to wake up and then realize my goal that day is to put out 2 YouTube videos, 5 TikToks, and then get on stream and then go to bed after that, and then I have to do the same thing over and over again for
a lot of videos.
well, yeah, a lot of videos, whatever org it's for, whatever team it's for, whatever internal revenue and self-revenue I can polish off myself. But it's at the end of the day, it's just a matter of providing that safe space first and foremost. Showing people that we have a motto on our channel. It's hashtag the wave, and I thought about that when I first started, because the term, that's the wave is it means like it's a motto for that's something to do, that's the trend, quote unquote, and ours is hashtag the wave, and it's the wave, be great, make a difference. Because like I think I put on Twitter, or you did, that's the mentality you want to have every day. Just wake up, be great. I always put that in our I always put that in our Discord. Today, this week, be great. This week, make a difference. And when I first started saying that, it caught on, and people are like, I want to make a difference. I want to, but I don't have this much money. I don't have this much to provide. And I said, making a difference is something that it doesn't count financially. It could be something as simple as asking somebody how their day is, especially if they're upset and you know that. So, it's something that's mainly different, but it's also something that's near and dear. But yeah, at the end of the day, I would love to be able to make people smile, provide a safe space for them, and then have that be my career to do so.
I love that, man.
These guys are comedy.
Being kind is a free thing, 100%. Mom put it best.
Oh yeah, definitely.
When you tweeted that, saying I just want to be great, that is my actual mother, by the way. Huge supporter.
I respect that.
It's been here since day one. She was a VIP. She is now a mod. She gives me all the important information during the stream.
Love that.
She already texted me of what I need to adjust sound wise, which I love, which is great. But when you tweeted that, I want to be great. So many people lose sight of the mentality you need if you want to take this to successful or better heights and then achieve greatness. What you need to achieve greatness is lost amongst so many people, and it's kind of unfortunate. My thing is make it a great day, because only you can control I don't want to sound cheesy about it, but you control your fate. What you put into this is what you get out of it.
No, absolutely. I 100% agree with this. No, it does, and a lot of people forget that. And I like to reiterate to my friends and family, and that's another term we use around my channel. We like when we have, I think a lot of people have, I'm assuming this day and age, a lot of people have community nights. I'm sure you've hosted your fair share, where it's we in the past and in recent, we've had what we call family and friends nights, because that's a terminology I started with. I think right back when I first started our community nights, quote unquote, is we have family and friends nights. We use the term family and friends instead of community, because at the end of the day, we wanted it to be more than a community. Whether there's 5 of us, 10 of us, hundreds, thousands of us in the chat or in the games, we always want it to be more. But yeah, man, it's and we're all. I always like to reiterate too, we're all human. We have our bad days. I've had bad days in the past. I had to take a couple months off mentally to get right and to fix some life stuff even recently. And the goal of that is that make sure you put out that energy when you can, because when you have a bad day, you're really appreciative when somebody's doing their justice and being quote unquote great that day, and they're able to pick you up along the way. So it does mean a lot. It does go further than people expect.
Well, count me in next time you have a community night. That'd be sick. I don't know what all you guys do, but I would definitely be down to join you guys and enjoy that time with all you.
Typically Warzone. It's usually Warzone private matches.
I have tried recently I've tried to do community nights that's turned into more like play with viewers. I tried doing customs just a couple weeks ago, and we were 4 people short.
It's tough, man. It is, because we've hosted probably, I want to say like 10 Warzone community nights, and I think we've gone through all of them except maybe 2, so I'd say 8 out of the 10. Because it's tough, and like you said, it'll usually come down to we need 2, we need 3, we need 4. And then in the past we've done multiplayer. Exactly. we've done the full ringer of it, so it is difficult. Like I said, we want to do more games in the future, but we mostly stuck to Call of Duty. Like I said, hopefully more games. We've done Among Us too. That's a really fun game that's free for everybody. Everybody can play. So I think even Fall Guys is free to play now, and I didn't know this Fall Guys has custom lobbies now. So
I've never played Fall Guys. I still have not played that yet. It looks absolutely amazing, and I need to.
You definitely need to try it. It's something where it's like I need to let out some
Fortnite
steam.
Community night? No way.
Yeah. we would never, especially because it's got to have building. We would never. But no, nonetheless, it's just a way to connect everybody, and
Absolutely.
like you said, it's a way to make sure everybody reflects what you're putting out.
That's amazing. Now, I heard you touch earlier about posting on socials, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, etc. What is your favorite social media platform to use when it comes to posting content, and why?
That's a tough one. Obviously, Twitch is first and foremost, because I always say that, you have to correlate. It's easier to correlate, and a good friend gave me this advice. It's good to correlate your Twitch to all your other content, but I've seen people with millions. I've actually have friends that have 1 million plus TikTok followers, and they have a hard time adjusting their 1 million TikTok followers to their Twitch. They'll have 1 million. I think one friend has like 1.1 million, but he averages around the same viewership I average in my Twitch, because it's hard to transition all that. So I would definitely say hosting, YouTube, because I have a background in YouTube. I started it when I was like 13, 14, but consistency, I say Twitter, whether it's a simple tweet, whether it's ad discussing stuff, whether it's posting content, because at the end of the day, my Twitter has everything that can kind of connect what else is needed. For me, Twitter is a big stepping stone. It's, especially in this day and age, a lot of brands not respawning. God, that's why one of the reasons I love this company is because they don't look at their followers like that, but a lot of other brands they will, because they want to see what you can bring to the table numbers wise, and make 100%. Sure that the product you are presenting hits those eyes. And I think Twitter's probably the best way to do so.
I understand that. I do, with the whole looking into your followers and your interaction and your numbers and all that. I don't like it though, because especially as a newer creator, and I consider myself a newer over a small creator. I hate that term, small creator. What makes you a bigger one? Is it just numbers? Because I have a very strict feeling that if I had more eyes on me, it would just grow from there. I have a very good feeling about the content I put out on any social media platform, whether the amount of followers I have or not. And that's not being cocky. I just have a strong belief in what I'm capable of, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's good. No, it does. And that's something you need to carry with yourself. And I think, like last year, I always say last year I got a big break because I had my connections, and these guys are a joy to have in chat. I'm telling you.
Thank you, Poppy. I appreciate that.
If they all start fighting each other, just let them have it. Sometimes brothers and sisters need to have at it. Jesus Christ. Definitely. No, it's like last year. Obviously, the game was Call of Duty Cold War, and when League Play first came back with an idealized set, or ranked, whatever you would like to call it, it's that's where I think I caught a big break. I had some ties to the competitive Call of Duty community still. Back when I used to compete, even one of my old teammates, Blar, is in chat obviously right now, and actually he's my best friend, like IRL too, which is kind of crazy. But nonetheless, that's where I caught my break. Yeah, I gotta never argue. I got a big break last year, just because I had certain ties to community. I knew there's some pro players in competitive Call of Duty that I've competed against in my past. There's even some that lived in my hometown. Obviously not going to get on names, but there's some I've even talked to back on a personal level. Last year I got about, like I said, 5 to 7 raids from different professional Call of Duty players that continue, that even has CDL contracts to this day. Attach, Parasite, he doesn't play anymore. Obviously Shotzi's a big name. And I think just having that, that vibe, that branding, that persona is something that, when you do have those connections and those ties, it really pushes you. And when I did get those hosts or raids, I kind of ran with it, because when you have that many eyes on you, it's something you kind of got to take advantage of the moment, and then that propelled me, and so forth. So I agree with you. Like you said, it's just like you're definitely one with the personality that you can tell that if you have more eyes on you, it'll make people stick. It's just like you said, sometimes a lot of these brands, they don't understand that getting to that point and getting those eyes on you, it's tough. And again, that's
a grind. That's the term grind that comes in.
Yeah,
and Love Reina says this, something that rings true. it's so much easier to connect and make friends, whereas if you have thousands, it's a bit harder. And that is true. That is true. And I've talked to several people who, as they've gotten bigger, they've actually lost some people that were there from the beginning because that close, tight-knit feeling isn't there anymore, per se.
Right.
It's
kind
hard.
of
a toss-up of what you want to experience or provide as far as the experience goes for your community.
No, it is, and Pabby probably made the the best correlation with it is that it's like teachers with smaller classes. It's so hard to keep track of the ideal ones that are always there, the people that are always supporting you, especially when you get to these larger scales. And I feel like you not like lose enjoyment for it, but you lose, I think, the surprisingness of seeing, you know, oh, I haven't seen you in a while, or hey, thank you for coming by again, and appreciating those small moments. Because I'll tell you, and at the end of the day, I don't think people realize it. We're both viewers too. At the point, we always watch other people's content, and the amount of streams I've got into where I see a big streamer like, God, I hate saying it, but like a Swag or Nick Merckx, a Ninja, and it's kind of, and I make this joke all the time, the straight face, hey, thanks for the 50 bomb, man, I appreciate it. Like, and they lose sight of how important that little. If I
got a 50 bomb, I would lose my mind.
I you know what I mean? And I hate to say it, but I've been there before, and it's like you're on the verge of like breaking your monitor essentially, in all joking, and it's crazy, man. It's like Raina said, like Pabby said, and everybody else kind of puts that on our level, is that you really make those special connections. I feel like when you have a closer knit group, there's obviously room to grow, and you want that growth. But I think you're in a fortunate spot when you do have a close knit group and you're able to at least focus in on that for the time being. Do I want obviously to average a 1K viewership one day and make this a career? Of course. But there, exactly. But there's always going to be those few that are in chat, obviously, and I always told this to him. I was like, I don't care if I need to have all 50 VIP slots or way more mods than I need to be to make sure that I never lose the viewer in chat that got me to where I was. So I think that's, again, it's great. It's also frustrating. Like I said, I think that's the most fun. I don't think I've been that frustrated when I first started trying to get the viewership up than when I did used to compete in Call of Duty, obviously, because that was a whole different beast. So it's definitely a different class table. Do it.
So I did that. That channel redemption is purely to make my daughter mad. I have a 10-year-old daughter. She's my oldest daughter, and she says, that is the stupidest thing that you can do.
That's awesome, though. You need a little bit of that.
Swinging shirt, go hydrated. Love it. I love it. You guys are amazing.
Thank you for redeeming that, Mo. I was wondering what that entailed. Some people have different dabs on their streams.
Yeah, but, no, it's not. It's not going to be against TOS. Let's put it that way.
some people do, but that was the one I was curious about. So thank you, Mo, for redeeming that.
For the most part, family friendly here. For the most part. Now, I have 3 daughters, and primarily one of the reasons I keep going with streaming is to show them that it's not too late to go after your dreams. That's super important to me to show them. As young girls, always go after your dreams. And I'm 33 years old, so some people would say that I'm pretty old for this game, this industry. But there's some people that are older than me that are way more successful, so why not? You know what I mean?
No,
do you guys have any kids? Do you have any kids?
No, we do not. Obviously, it's in the future plans, but I think that's a good stepping stone. What you put is provide, be not only that mentor, but be that, success story for them. That's showing like it doesn't matter the age. Like I said, I competed in Call of Duty. I think starting when I was 14 or 15 in MW3. I think it was MW3 all the way up until I was 23, and I thought I was done. And even to this day, I make jokes that I am probably the best 27-year-old competitive Call of Duty player with arthritis in his hands, probably in the world right now. So we always make that joke on my channel, just because like you never show. And like you said, there's a lot of streamers. I can name a ton of them that are
love Raina, tactical grandma from TikTok. Perfect example.
There you go.
I'm assuming that's who you're talking about, right?
I think she is. Yeah.
Who hasn't heard of him?
Yeah, and I hate bringing the name up, but Doc is old. He's 40.
Doc's isn't going in. Doc's not going anywhere. He's too damn entertaining to ripples in the future. What? Yes, 100%, 100%. I mean, these people are too entertaining. They offer too much entertainment factor to just disappear from the game completely. So why can't I at 33 go after it, or hydrated after he's in his 30s or later on in life? To achieve your goals, you have to go after it no matter what. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, man, and it's true, and you got to think about it. The longer you do it, there's somebody made a good point. The longer you do this, the higher your success rate, your higher chances of going to do this full time go up. It doesn't go down from doing it more consistently, more longer. You can only, it's just, and at that point, it doesn't change if, it turns a matter of when it's going to happen. So that's a great way to look at it. Like I said, and I always tell my wife this, and we always talk about it, is we got years down the line to keep going after this, because I want to obviously, at the end of the day, there's still a financial aspect. So I want to provide, a way to not only, have this a career, but to financially support my family to where they won't ever have to worry again, because that's what this industry showed, is that it can be, whereas back in the day, especially when I first started, it was a joke to make, side money, but now it's obviously, you've seen the impact gaming can have in this industry. It's absolutely monumental.
And not to mention the health benefits of gaming itself, along with streaming and the social benefits that come with it. It's a game changer on many different levels. So I don't know if you can relate with that too, but I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, no, I definitely. I've met a few friends recently, like within the starting the stream up again, who I consider closer than a lot of people that I've known for 5-10 plus years now, and I've just gotten so close to them because they've made that reason, made that interaction. We both represent each other on the same level, and even when I used to compete, I met a lot of good friends who I still talk to this day, because we shared the same passion and whatnot. And like you said, and obviously you being a father, it's a scary world out there, man. Especially in this day and age. So it's terrifying. Yeah, it's sad, it's frightening. So gaming kind of provides that prelude to a different safety measure. Obviously, being able to correlate with those that are saying the same passion as you, same fun as you, you're good, and enjoy the same lifestyle you do.
I want to touch on something that's actually taboo in a lot of communities, a lot of streamers or content creators. You said that, I can't remember exactly what you said, so I apologize. I don't want to butcher your words, but you want to make this as a income for your family, for you to support your family. That is a taboo topic in and of itself. It's so hard for people to admit that, because a lot of people want to say, well, I'm not doing it for the money. I'm not doing it for any of that. I want to do it for my community and to make friends and relationships, etc. But if you want to be successful, you want to make the money. Is that hard for you to admit? Is that hard for other people to hear you admit? I mean, do you know where I'm coming from on this one?
No, I do completely, and it's not hard for me to admit, because at the end of the day, you need to provide for yourself. And I always say that there's nothing wrong with it being the latter end of the goal, is obviously do this because you love it, because the saying, dude, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. But I always tell people,
money, honestly.
That's true, Josh. Little wave joke. I caught that, Pabby. That was clever. I'm not gonna lie. But at the end of the day, I always tell people, especially we have a lot of people recently, it's just because it's summertime, that are just starting out in our community, and in our community, we do our best to make sure they hit affiliates, obviously, so they can start earning that income and get an idea of what it's like. But I always tell them, during the latter end of it, that's okay, but make sure you start off with the right reasons. I started off, again, like I said, in wanting to provide a little bit of a light in a dark world at the time being, even now, and provide a safe space. But now that I've been doing this for a year and a half, consistently again, and get it later down the line, I think of, I take a day by a day, but there's also long-term goals where I need to wake up, make sure, I can provide for my family and be able to do something I love every day. And if you keep that mindset of just doing what you love because you genuinely enjoy it, the financial stability will come. But obviously that has to be talked about at some point in your career, especially with these big streamers. I know a couple that I spoke to, and they obviously have their own financial advisors they speak to and what they do, just because we don't know how long gaming can last not only as a scene, but an industry. So you got to provide some sort of subtlety towards it. It is hard to talk about, because especially during stream, but it is something that every streamer, when they go deep into it and they invest in it, it is in the back of their head at some point.
Oh, 100%. You don't want to go live and be like, give me all your money. It's not about that. Come on now.
50 gifted right now. No, you can't do that.
But the thing is, I mean, people lose sight of the important part of that. Yes, you can focus on earning money and making money from this as a living, but don't make it about that. That's where people lose sight of the important things with streaming. And I think that's when it becomes unbecoming of people in the process, right?
Right.
It's a very ugly trait that some people lose sight of, and they possess that trait, and it's just like, why the hell am I watching this person?
Yeah, it's rough, and it's like, and that's why like I've really never had like incentives for like sub goals, or like I don't even like putting the bits, what is it, text to speech or whatnot. Mm-hmm. It's just because I never make it. I always tell people I don't have no like long-term sub goal. I don't have no 1,000 subs I can buy a new PC or whatnot. I even dislike having a sub goal in general. I have one monetization, whatever you want to call it, initial on my channel, and it's a sub goal. It's just right under my camera, obviously, and I don't even want that. Just because I hate having the concept of any sort of money on it, but yeah, it is something that's not necessarily talked about a lot, but it is part of the industry, and it is, and I'm so glad, Velocity, you pointed that out, dude. I just wanted to take a second, because your streaming background, from your neon logo to your soundproof pads, yeah, that is some of the best aesthetics I think I've seen in a minute. And I have to ask, what shirt is that? Oh,
this first of all, thank you guys. This is supposed to be about hydrated though, but this is Gamer Pride. Okay, it's a recent line of GXO, whom I'm a partner of. I'll drop the command if you guys want to check it out. They have amazing products. It's a lifestyle, gaming, and apparel brand. If you guys are interested, use code MAV for 10% off. This background, my wife and oldest daughter helped me with. My daughter helped me design my stream room. She's very involved with all of this. My wife puts up with all of it, all the money that goes into it. I wanted to create something that was truly a vibe, and that was what I was after with this. So.
No, you accomplished it. That's, like I said, because that is your logo, right, in the neon?
Yes, it's the Wingman logo. Now,
that's it.
I've made a lot of advancements with logos, and I wanted to talk to you about that as branding and stuff goes. But my first logo wasn't very friendly per se from a branding aspect, so we rebranded behind my community, the Wingmen, because without my community, I am nothing. So that's our logo, the Wingmen logo. I met a awesome company called Allegiant Gaming who made that sign for me. It's one of the biggest signs they've ever made. It costs quite a bit because they don't make them that big, but I spared no expense. I said, I want it. I need it right there behind me.
Love to hear it. No, that's dope. Again, I got to look into it, because that's one thing. It's hard. I don't know if you can see on camera, but right above the Pikachu, there is an empty space. Mm-hmm. And I've always wanted something there. Me and the wife have talked about it, and one of them obviously that pops up is a neon sign, because like you mentioned, we're FPS players. We go late into the night, so there needs to be some sort of lighting regarding the room. So that is something. But I wanted to point that out to you. I'm glad Velocity did, and Pat, you kind of took notice of it too. It's a really, you have a great aesthetic to your stream. Well, I think that's something that really pops out.
I appreciate that, and there is more above the sign that you can't really see in this scene. You guys stick around later for when we get games, and I'll show you everything else later. But for me, aesthetics is all about something that can keep people around. They want to like what they're looking at, right? Not just the gaming or just chatting, as I believe it was, Poppy pointed out earlier. The big streamers that were mainly gamers moved to just chatting streamers because we don't know how long gaming is going to be around in this industry, right? So that was my whole focal point around designing the surrounding of me in this office or stream studio, as I call it. People gotta like what they look at. That was a huge facet in me designing all of this, getting the help from my daughter and my wife, putting all the pieces together. It was super, super important to me. So it is a good point, Bobby. Thank you for bringing that up as well. Which I feel a lot of people are going to Just Chatting, and that's such a huge thing with this podcast, right? I want to provide a different type of content that people love to listen to. They don't necessarily have to watch, but they love to listen to. It's a great sound, and I'm meeting some amazing people like yourself. Super, super important in my opinion.
Oh, definitely. I think you always want to show people you're approachable too, and I think that's probably the biggest thing I've presented during this recruitment challenge, and a lot of tips that people have asked me for. And that's one thing I guess we'll talk about when we get to the recruits aspect of it. But it's just, be approachable. You never know who's watching. You never know when somebody could, whether I've seen a lot of these guys in the past just tap up streamers. They don't say anything because they want to see how you're acting when they notice you're not in there. So that's one of the things I picked up, because I'm always watching. It goes deeper than people think. So.
Absolutely. Well, that's a good segue. I didn't want to make this all about Respawn Recruits. I do appreciate that you're willing to talk about it, because I myself am competing this year in Respawn Recruits. I would love the insight, love the opinions and advice. Let's talk about that. Your experience with Respawn Recruits. You said earlier you did it a total of 3 times. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've entered every one they've hosted except so I've won 2 or 3 times.
That's nuts. I want to know the why. What drove you to entering your very first Respawn Recruits, and then what was your experience with that first time?
So I want to preface, and like I said, I give a huge spotlight to Darius and what he does. Everybody knows who Darius is at this point. He's the Respawn. A lot of my water fam knows him. He's a Respawn guy that handles the Twitter, and he definitely, TikTok, everything, Instagram, he does it all. And I followed Respawn, the product itself. Obviously, I was partaking in before they had the recruitment challenge. I even followed the Twitter and whatnot. And then I really enjoyed, obviously, the tweets he would put out prior to, because I was like, this is one company that has that lighthearted fun to it. It's not always, 10% off here, advertise this, advertise that, and whatnot. So that's one thing I partaken in. And when I first saw that thing, like, hey, they're hosting a recruitment challenge in the winter, the winner out of the 9 gets to be a partner. I said, this is kind of cool. And then one of the things in their first flyer, I remember what the flyer looked like. I don't think I could find it, but I remember what it looked like, is that, your followers don't matter. And that's something that really stuck out to me. So I said, why not? I didn't have many. I had like 120, if that, maybe even less, like Twitter followers at one point. I had 100, a little over 100 Twitch. Again, even most of my Twitter was from my competitive Call of Duty days. So it was bar none. And I went for it, and it was much different than I had ever expected. They had like little challenges here and there, which you saw the first one today was tag somebody, and give them some praise.
Say something nice.
They had some other ones in the past where, make a video on the spot, and or upload this, put a picture of this, present this content, and I really invested in it because I enjoyed the product. I enjoyed what Darius put out from the social media side of things, and I knew it was a great company, so I said, why not me? And as the challenge went on, I really enjoyed the different challenges they presented, whether it was, hey, make a video on the spot. There was times where I was at work, and I literally went on break, went straight to my car, recorded a video in response to the tweet, and went from there. And then obviously, first off that topic of the first one, it ended. One guy I still talk to his name is B Harp. He was kind of the person that I looked to, because he had, I'm not even kidding, Matt, he had like 40 Twitter followers, he had like 90 Twitch followers, and like really low numbers. And he was kind of that, when he got announced as one of the winners, I said, and Darius, I remember like the night of the first day they announced it, then that same night, Darius came into my chat, and I did not know who it was. I just saw Lord Dragavir at one point, and I called him Lord even, and I did not know who it was because I never, spoke to Darius like that. And he gave me the utmost praise. He said, I love your attitude. I love your passion. I love the way you carry. I love the way you carry yourself. Make sure you keep carrying that, because it does show and it does reflect. And I said, thank you. And then I looked up his Twitch, and then I clicked, obviously, go link to link. And I was like, oh my God, there's no way. I just had Darius in my chat. At the time, I was like nuts about it because of the situation. So,
Laddie with the resub. Thank you so much, bro. Laddie is a fellow Respawn Recruits. Super awesome.
Seen Laddie. Absolute legend. And I noticed that, and then once I noticed that, I knew I had a decent shot. And then, like I said, B Harp, he's a really dope dude. He's a big Fortnite content creator. He got announced again, like I said, 40 Twitter, like 90 Twitch, and a little of everything else. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I really have a shot here. Like, this is possible for a smaller creator. Didn't get announced, obviously. This is when they even picked up people like Boy Santana, who's in FaZe now.
Mm-hmm.
And then so that's how the first one ended, and it's from then on I kind of went to the second one.
That's amazing. That is amazing. That's the thing I appreciate the most about Respawn Recruits, right? It doesn't matter how many followers you have, and to be quite honest, this is the very first time I've done it. I wasn't going to. I always had. Now I know what I said earlier about having faith in my content and all of that. I always do have a little doubt, right? Because if you don't, what's going to drive you to do better? First and foremost, I never saw a recruitment challenge or competition as a beneficial thing to be a part of until I talked to more people that were a part of them. Laddie's one of them. I was actually talked into doing Respawn Recruits by Laddie with the rate of 10. Thank you so much, bro. Let me get a shout out in chat for Laddie real quick. I was talked into doing Respawn Recruits by Laddie and a good friend of mine, Netley. Without them, I wouldn't have done this. And being a part of it now, I've realized how beneficial it can be from a networking and creating relationships aspect. Laddie, no, I'm not talking shit about you, bro. I promise. I promise. Thank you so much for that raid. So that was number one. Let's talk about number two. What made you go back? Was it the drive to want to achieve more, and because you didn't get it per se the first time?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Like I said, I'm like I explained my background earlier. I'm competitive. I may not seem like it, but I'm competitive. I don't rage. I was one of the rare Call of Duty players that when I was on the circuit, when I played on the circuit, I was as passionate as everybody else around me, but I was really a rager. I was more of a learner. So it was long kind of form of I want to go further in this. I want to compete in this, continue to be, as versatile as I am in this competition. But it was also too like seeing a couple, like I said, the previous creators they did pick up and whatnot, and it provided context to like I can do this essentially. So the second one, I did speak to others around the the community a little bit more. I met a few good people. No, Laddie, I can't attest to that. That's the one thing I can't attest to, my friend. I'm sorry. But yeah, and I met a lot of great people, and it kind of showed. In the content, and what I presented was a little bit more difficult this time around. I thought I was going to get at least like some sort of a testament to the content that I presented, but and I even put myself out there a little bit more. But again, they picked up a lot of great creators that second time around. They picked up somebody I'm really close with. His name is Hyper Excel. He's another partner, and he's a great dude. And then that was that second time around, close but no cigar. And then I even talked to Darius a little bit after. He literally told me, he's like, dude, just keep grinding. He's like, you're essentially, you're right. He didn't tell me because you can't really tell your competitors that, but he's basically kind of prefaced like, you're right there. Just keep grinding. You're seen by who values you and whatnot. And I think it was a preface to how far I came in that second round.
What is love?
Right.
Laddie, nothing but love for you, man. So the thing about the whole content creation in Respawn Recruits is, my biggest question is, what kind of content do I put out? And I found out relatively early, the thing they want to see is what you usually do regardless. Right? I mean, there's more along with the challenges and stuff like that. Give me a link of who we got here. Come on now.
I'm sorry. One more time, can you repeat the question?
Well, it's just the kind of content that you put out, right? With Respawn Recruits, you want to be yourself, and I found that out first and foremost pretty early on. That you just keep putting out what you usually do, aside from the challenges that they present to you. Yes, a former recruits winner, 100%.
Technically, yeah. I don't want to take away
that
from
word.
the 5.
Technically, you still earned it though, bro. You still
Yeah,
earned
yeah,
it.
I earned
100%.
it. Yeah. Yeah, so but yeah, it's funny, man, because that's the thing. I think that's the question I've been asked the most is what can I do differently from other recruits, other people. So it's just a matter of the biggest advice I've given so far, and I've given to a lot of people that have come by, is just that take what you think separates yourself and then run with it. Run with that. That's what it was. For me, it was the grind, and I put this in my and I think you guys have seen on Twitter, Darius has posted a couple of times people's Respawn recruits posts when you first submitted your application. Mine was that I grind harder than anyone, and I stuck by that. It was a matter of I had the most run time out of all the thousands of recruits the third time around. I had the most streaming time. I was live from 5:30, 6 o'clock Pacific till 3 a.m. in the morning. Literally, Darius would come on my stream, and he would come by right before he's posting his morning tweet like he does, and he's like, "You're still on?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." And it's just, it provided so much content for me that it showed there was so much content. They always saw me essentially. So what separated me was my grind, and I think that's what took me. And I tell everybody else, I've had some people say, "Well, what separates me is my artwork. Nobody's doing art like this." And I said, "Then run with that, push that. Don't try to branch off into streaming, Warzone or streaming Fortnite right now, or playing Valorant, ranked Valorant, you know what I mean? Or making Valorant clips, or making deathcoms, whatever content it is, take what you're good at and run with it, because that's what makes you unique. And that's what a lot of people forget. Obviously, branch out, but don't branch out too far in what you're going away from what you do best.
Absolutely.
So I had to kind of switch up the way. I didn't switch up my content. I just switched up the way I went about my content. That's probably the biggest advice I can give to anybody that wants to, not just make top 50, and that's again leading. I'm assuming you're going to go into the third one. That's what kind of led me into the third one, was that I'm the only person. I'm one of the few. I think I was like one out of all the thousands. There's only 5 of us that had all 3, and I knew out of those 5 who I'm close with, I knew that I was one that could be picked up as their person this year. That is their smaller creator.
That's amazing. And I want to go back about content, right? Is everyone is unique in their own way. I went back to so my content. I wasn't the greatest COD player. I wasn't the greatest Warzone or Rebirth or whatever it may be player. So I lean more on my creativity. What can I do with the clips I do have? And then I turn that into its own merchandise line. I turn that into this or that, that are community favorites now. And that's what I think not only Respawn, but a lot of different companies should look at, if they don't already, is your creativity that can go a long way. And that it kind of blew my mind when you said your favorite social is Twitch because of the content you can create on there. And that's so opposite of what so many people say or think. Because so many people are like, well, you need to post on TikTok, or you need to post on YouTube, or Facebook, Insta, whatever it may be, to get people to come to Twitch. And I've never heard that take before. That was pretty wild in my opinion. But I love it. I respect it 100%.
Right, and it's just a matter of where does your content start. Everybody's content typically starts from Twitch, and it's the easiest way to transition it, because I always say this, out of any platform, people will comment on YouTube once in a while. People will comment if they see the TikTok every once in a while. Your consistent viewers always come from Twitch. That's where the most loyalty is beyond your own communities, and it goes the furthest. But to win this thing, you really gotta again make sure that you provide that content from a stable base. You can't provide something that'll hit every now and again, obviously. And I just preface that so much because like I said, I've been in this industry since I was 14, and I've hit like almost every facet. Like I said, we use the term around my community as I'm the most experienced small creator, because I've hit every facet. I was a social media manager. I was an esports manager. I was captain for my competitive team. I compete on the circuit. Obviously, I was a content creator. When I was younger till now. I managed a brand and stuff like that. I even managed a clothing brand for the last team I played for, and their owner. So it was I tried to hit every every facet of the industry I could, and I just gaining knowledge from all of it. It wasn't a matter of hit this, hit this, and just kind of run with it. It's just I kind of wanted to later down the line be that kind of that, and this older term, but be that OG that kind of just knows more or less so, rather than just knowing a lot about only this, or a lot about only this, a lot about only this. And so when you are presented with the opportunity, or you speak to somebody that, like when I speak to Darius, I understand where he's coming from a social media standpoint.
Absolutely.
When I spoke to one of my good friends, his name is James. You probably seen him around. He was the old partnership manager for Respawn, and we talk almost every day. He's with G Fuel now, and I talked to him. It's like when he talks about, you know, his day of work, I understand where he's coming from too. And then when I talk to these other, you know, players, or these other competitive players that are in challengers for Call of Duty, or in the AM scene for Halo, or, you know, they manage their own orgs, or even esports teams, I understand where they're coming from. So I think it's a good base to touch on everything.
Absolutely. Beard Dad has a great question as well. What keeps you going while you're doing all of that? I mean, because that's got to take a lot of focus, and it pulls you in a lot of different directions. So what kind of is the inspiring factor that keeps you going through all of it?
Just I want to be able to pull stuff from the real world and other industries that gaming hasn't seen. Like I've always said to this day, I want to be, and a lot of my community knows this already. I used to, people see on stream, I used to work for Nike. I worked for Nike for 5 years, and my goal was I always wanted to be. I've always wanted to be Nike's first sponsored content creator. I've always wanted to be Nike's first sponsored gamer. So I wanted to touch base. I wanted to be able to do stuff you see people like, you know, Stephen Curry do, LeBron do. You've seen Tiger Woods put out for charities and whatnot, and not only just athletes or world figures in general. So I've always wanted to touch. That's why we've done a lot of charity streams even. So that's why I wanted to touch base and inspire to be like, I don't want to only be looked at this gaming I don't even want to be like Nick. I don't want to be like Ninja. I don't want to be like, you know, the Doc. All these insane creators that are huge in their industry. XQC, well, he's a different story, but you know, I mean, I want to be able to branch out, and that's what keeps me going, is being able to do what a lot of companies don't see, or a lot of people in the gaming industry don't kind of value.
Right. Beard
you
wants
find
to
this
be... I love it.
I'd take a shot at it now, Beard. You might have an opportunity already.
One Nike more of an inspiration than your wife. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So
you know what's funny? That's her favorite emo out of all Twitch too.
She's used it like 4 or 5 times tonight.
I know.
I'm a fan as well.
Now imagine how much she uses it in my chat.
What was your biggest fear as a streamer? That's a great question. That is a great question.
Oh, my biggest fear as a streamer. That's a great question, Mod. Mr. Wingman himself. Hey, look at that.
It fits. It's perfect. It's like,
it really is.
It's like it all belongs together.
My biggest fear as a streamer was, I think, because I'm a big family person. I have a very diverse family, like not only ethnically but also moral value-wise. Is my family, because I know, especially when I was younger, when I went to events and I traveled to play on the circuit, it was so tough for them to believe in this, and even nowadays, it's so hard for them to understand about this being a career. So my biggest fear was putting all this time into it, them getting to kind of recognize how much time I was putting into it. And obviously I live on my own, but you know, trying to make them proud on that aspect. And you know, whether it's a video doesn't do well, or you know, a stream is lackluster. Well, streams are a little bit difficult because streaming is one thing that takes my mind off a lot, because I don't worry about numbers when I stream. I act the same way I do if I have one viewer in there, which obviously because of these amazing people, it really happens. But 1, 5, 10, 100, 1,000, I act the same way. So yeah, definitely.
That's how everyone should act, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think you kind of stray away from that and you start worrying about numbers when you get to that full-time point, whether you're averaging 5,000 viewers and then one day you're like, I'm averaging 500, something's not right. That's when you start worrying. But until then, you don't. But yeah, my biggest fear as a streamer is, I think, not being able to either make my family proud or show that I can be stable as a full-time job. But that's also something to use for as motivation. I'll never forget when I got my first payout, you know, calling my pops up and my moms and letting them know that, hey, I have another job now, essentially. So it's which it never feels like it, obviously, but to translate it to the real life for them, that's what it was. So
right. So I have a couple questions based off of that. As Beard trolls me, as he always does. I love you for it, Beard. I really do. That is a huge concern of mine as well. Obviously not ethnically, which I want to touch on as well, but there is a negative stigma that surrounds streaming and content creation for those who are uneducated. So that in and of itself is really scary to try and explain to people who don't really know what it's about. So I 100% relate on that. I feel it's on a somewhat different level, but I want to touch on the ethnicity about it a little bit. Do you have any hardships in the content creation world due to your ethnic background? Have you noticed anything like that? I know from like a male versus female aspect, there's a lot of arguments about that for content creators, but have you experienced any issues on an ethnic standpoint?
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like obviously being, not only an FPS player, but mainly a COD player, and you can understand that some of the stuff we hear in game and even in our streams sometimes it gets wild, and obviously being from a diverse ethnic background, and especially because I get a lot of like different, obviously terminologies used, but one thing a lot of people don't know is I'm actually, especially majorly on my dad's side, I'm native, so it's I'm like kind of like the like what's like the needle in the haystack, but there's not a lot of us, but it definitely gets the the variation going, and with the ethnic background and who tunes in and the stuff they say, it is hard. And one thing I want to preface, and you might be able to support this too, is I give oh my gosh, do I, especially in Call of Duty, but other stuff too, I give all the credit in the world to all the female streamers that do it the right way. This is for them, it's so tough. And like I said, my wife will stream from time to time, and she'll have female friends, and they'll be just trying to play the game, enjoy it. And then obviously some, since we're on the podcast, and some knucklehead tries to say something, jackasses, whatever you want to say. And it's not only that, and they come into stream, and it's like, it's always terrifying. And one of my friends, Azelle, always says it's scary because these are people that say this. These people behind the screen are somebody that can walk by the grocery store. You never know every day. And so I want to just shout out that aspect first, because I've been, like I said, I've been hearing this kind of stuff since I was 13, especially being ethnically diverse. I've heard it all, but the women in the industry, this is something that I think is taking a little bit too long to kind of get right. But yeah, just off that, I mean, I hear it from time to time. Like I said, especially being a Call of Duty player, especially being a competitive Call of Duty content creator, it does have a forefront in which it's really hits hard. It's not like every match, it's not even every other match, but it's definitely like, I think 1 in every 5 for sure. Especially when we hit the TTV.
The fact that we hear it is it's pathetic. It really is. And while hot mics create the best content most of the time, it is sad to see the state of the game at sometimes. So
it is.
I want to give you 100% props, and your wife, as she said, being a plus size woman. I'm a plus size man. Not that I deal with the same thing you do, but I do feel it. I do get it. When you are fluffy, there is more to love. 100%. Don't forget my one and only nice thing I said about you, man. Better screenshot it. Bro, I'm already one step ahead of you. I saw it, and thank you so much for that. I met Beard in a tournament. Before that, I did not know him at all. Truly one of my best friends. So
Love it.
Appreciate the hell out of him, even though he comes in here trolling me all the time. And he's a plus-size diva himself, so he gets it too.
W in itself.
Huge W. Listen, before we get going beyond the interview part, I do want to ask you, when you were selected, albeit out of the top 5, like you said earlier, you still won. You still earned this, right? Mm-hmm. What did you feel when that happened?
I guess what I feel, and then again, not to go off topic, but just for the fact that she's better than me. She'll try to fight him. I click respawn and move on to the next map. But I definitely think that, again, especially for those recruits that are in here, or those viewers of yours, or those who, if they create content like they stream once a week and they see an application for next year, go for it. You could literally stream once a week, and then all of a sudden that one time you stream during that week, it could be the first stream the day after you sign up, and then next thing you know, somebody from the team is lurking in your chat, somebody from the team is watching you, they say something to you, and that could give you the motivation. Hey, I might stream tomorrow, you never know, or I might actually have a shot at this, because all it takes is one look. And then I also want to give a shout out to Darius, Stephanie and Rachel, the whole team over there, everybody else involved, because dude, going through 3,000 applications on that Excel sheet they probably have, and clicking the links to everybody's content.
Absolutely nutty.
Dude, over, what is it, 2.5 weeks now in that time span? Oh my God, I can only imagine the late nights they've had. So I respect them, and I always respect them for doing so. But yeah, man, when it got to, when I was announced last year and I got to top 1,000, and I can probably go find my tweets, you can go find my tweets at some point. I wasn't content with it. I was appreciative, but I wasn't content with that. I was like, we made top 1,000, let's go. We made top 750, we made top 250, we made top 100. And I even made top 25, and I tweeted out right after. I remember this guy, I said it was the gif of Kobe saying job's not finished yet, because I knew that I made it this far, that I can win it all. And it wasn't until the top 9 when I got announced, and I was thankful for it. I was so blessed. When I got announced, I knew I have a shot at winning this, and then that's when I got hit with the curveball, which, for those of you that entered it in the previous ones, it was such a curveball in the finals last year, which I get. So for those that aren't educated on it, it was based off likes and retweets for different platforms. Again, the team did that because at the end of the day, you need a following to represent your brand at the end of the day. I was so appreciative for making the top 9, but what it was is that in that video I made on Twitter about Respawn Recruits, you'll see the little cutouts of our faces. We each got, I think it was 10 to 20 points for every like or retweet on our individual bios that Respawn tweeted, all of our individual Instagrams postings, all of our individual all of our individual quotes on Twitter. And it's just every single one of these content creators, they're so incredibly talented and gifted at the same time. I just couldn't keep up, man. It was so tough.
So they dug deep for that one, though, because they're taking every single tweet or post or whatever and adding up points for that takes a lot of tracking.
It does, dude.
Lorena says that they've never done that before. Was that the first time?
Yeah, typically they just announced, like, here's the 9 people we picked, and so on. But they wanted 4 this time around. And then it was kind of interesting how they did the 5th one. The 5th one is, they said, if you didn't enter Respawn Recruits, or whoever didn't enter it and whoever did enter it, just reply underneath this tweet right now, make a video and tell us why you deserve the 5th spot. And it was for everybody in the world. You could have not entered, and that's how they picked the last person. And I forgot who it was. It was some dude who made a really funny video, and it was cool though, nonetheless. But it was tough, man, because when we got announced for the top 9, I got put in the top 9 group in our Twitter chat and whatnot. And I looked, and I'm a competitive player. It's in my intuition. I scouted. It was 10,000 followers, 20,000 followers. One of them was Z-Face, who, if you're on TikTok a lot, you know he is. He has 1 million followers on TikTok, man, and like tens of thousands on Instagram, and I think almost like close to like 50K on Twitter, dude. And it was so hard to keep up. I was
nervous, bro.
I was adding I think that was like the curveball. That was just something where I was like, I'm gonna try, dude. I was adding every friend. I was on every family member telling Nico this. My wife was telling all of her group chat friends and this and that. We tried. We made up a lot more points than I expected, man. That was one thing I think that James and Darius looked at last year, was that, hey, he didn't get the top 5 votes, but he really put out a lot of what would you call it? I guess interactions based off that. So, and then that's when I found out a few weeks later that James, that's what he said. He's like, hey man, you got in the finals, and I know you fell short, but we want to reward you for it. And that's when obviously he DM'd me on Discord, and dude, that morning I think I woke up Raina too. I'm pretty sure I did. Dude, I literally went to my laptop and my setup, and I started screaming. And I was like, it was just one of those moments, because like I told James, I told him thank you, because not a lot of people with my background, where you're come from, my upbringing, kind of get opportunities like this.
That's amazing.
Where you're presented with this, man. It's not, people like me don't get this kind of opportunity and love to be featured to represent a whole company, because at Respawn, man, they've grown so much since the end of the first recruitment challenge. I mean, we're partnered with FaZe now. It's insane. So at the end of the day, you got to know what you're getting yourself into, because it could be you, it could be Laddie, it could be Dank. I see him a lot on Twitter. It could be Tayson. It could be anybody, man. Exactly. Fingers crossed. It could be anybody. But if it is you, you got to be prepared to like understand that. And I think a lot of people forget this when they enter. You're going to be representing one of the biggest brands in all of esports. It's something that comes with it. And again, it's how much close you can stay, because it's like, and like I said, we have a lot of great partners I'm with, but I wanted to be, this time around, I wanted to be the most interactive partner for this recruitment challenge. Out of all the partners Respawn has, I wanted to be one to kind of give back, man, because again, I was one of those people that wasn't supposed to be in this position. So, and I'm not saying obviously all the recruits that won last year or previous years or even other partners, aren't caring about this, man, but I wanted to be the one to engage most with all of you guys, because I understand the excitement behind this. I understand where it can take you. And I kind of preface that to Darius, man. I want to be able to show that, these guys and gals can do it no matter what their following is. And, I'm not saying there's going to be somebody with 1 million followers that's not going to make the top 100 because they have something to offer. But, like I said, following your stream and seeing your content, you have something to offer just as much as somebody in our partnership that has 1 million TikTok followers, thousands of Twitch subscribers. It's just a matter of keeping that eye on them and kind of finding that diamond in the rough.
Well, first of all, thank you. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Because the smaller, I hate that word again, but the smaller creators out there do put the work in. And like you said, it takes some getting the eyes on you to notice what you're capable of and what you can put out there. But before we get out, Beard did ask a question earlier. Beard, I hope you're still in here. How do you keep new ideas coming for content? When I started, there was barely any on TikTok. Now there's so many to even try anymore.
So for ideas that come from not just TikTok, but I think even YouTube in general, it's you never want to stray away from what you know. I think when you start straying away from what you know, that kind of dilutes your passion, your initiative for what your content is solely based off of. Now you just got to think outside the box of what hasn't been done in your content. So for me, I made competitive Call of Duty videos that had to do with all of my products for Respawn last recruitment challenge. That's one thing that stood out. Whether it was, I actually put out a competitive montage in which every one of the clips I hit in ranked in Warzone, it had my chair featured in it in some sort of way. It was a really great editing done by my editor, and that was a video that got a lot of good recognition because it was something different. So you just, with the new ideas, kind of got to flow from what you think, like kind of, even if you have to, and I do this sometimes from time to time, I match myself up with another Call of Duty content creator and I see our similarities, but I also see what we do different. And then like, if they have a good idea or if I have a good idea, kind of bounce it off, like what made these so distinct, but what also made them similar, and then kind of go from there in order to, adjust your content, because I don't care what anybody says, man, there's so much room for different content out there that we haven't even scratched the surface for.
I always say that there's enough pie to go around. All of us can have a slice, 100%.
Exactly.
It gets old seeing the same 20 video clips edited into 2 kill clips. I agree. But it's, for me in particular, it's about what can you do with that 2 kill clip to make it entertaining. Because that's what you're providing in the end, is an entertainment factor. That's the way I look at it.
No, you're 100% right, man. And it's just like I said, I really enjoy, and I looked at some of your talks, Matt, because again, I'm a content creator. I'm a viewer. I watch TikToks and whatnot, dude, and I really enjoy when people put segments of like YouTube clips or like video clips or sports clips into their video that kind of correlates to the environment of what the video does, whether it's a cat screaming, whether it's somebody getting dunked on in Warzone, quote unquote, and then it's an actual NBA video of somebody getting dunked, like that kind of stuff. I think that branches out more, and that kind of provides a little bit of spice to the video, a little bit of new movement, or especially when people put their own selves in their TikToks, like your actual physical self. I think that's what's so cool about the game itself, because at this point everything's been done in game, what can be done for Warzone, everything's been done in game for ranked. and other video games, whatever it is. So I think that's what keeps it, refreshing. And I think that the personality is going to be the biggest asset to keep all content refreshing at the end of the day.
Great point. One more question. I know you've given out a lot of tips and advice and pointers, especially for those involved with Respawn recruits. But the very last question I have is your number one piece of advice going forward for anyone involved in the competition, the recruitment competition. What's one thing that you would tell everyone right now to just take and run with?
Please, and I mean this wholeheartedly, do not, this is a two-part answer because the last part kind of correlates. You need to not stray away from what you do. Do not go outside your box, but do not run from it. Do not do so. Stick with what your content is, because at the end of the day, if you do get picked up, you have to do what you're going to do regardless. You can't just stick away from it. Let's say you get picked up magically and then all of a sudden you go back to it and Respawn's like, this kind of isn't what we, advise would you to do. And then the last thing is that I had to make room, And then the last thing is that don't be, and I cannot preface this enough, do not be discouraged if you don't win it. Or not even that, if you don't make the 750, 250, whatever, however many votes are doing this year, do not be discouraged. I was completely, and you could.
That's the hardest thing. It is,
dude. It
especially
is. Trust
if you're
me.
competitive, and I know you can relate to that too, because I'm telling you, if I don't make 750, I'm gonna get pissed at myself because I'm so competitive. You just got to gun for the top. That's what you got to do.
That's what it is.
I guess not making it would push me to new heights in some way, shape, or form. But there would definitely be a moment where I'm like, come on, man. What did you do? What can you do better to get further? So no, I get it, I do. But from a competitive standpoint, it's so hard to not do that.
Dude, it really is, and that's what I tell people. Because don't get me wrong, when I wasn't one of the top 4 chosen last year, I was heartbroken, dude. Like it was so hard to load up on stream,
especially making it that far too.
Making it that far, I thought third time was the charm. I was talking to all my friends, all the text messages, even family members that tuned in. I thought that was it. We all tuned in for the last announcement that one day, and I'm sweating bullets. I was like, this could be it. And one thing I did take with me, that I was upset for that night, even that morning, but the next day when I went on stream, the Out of Love and Support showed me that it's not over yet. And one piece of advice I can take, and this is not even for 250, even if somehow somebody watching doesn't make the 750, if you don't make it, keep your content going as if you are still in recruits. If the event, if you make it to so let's say somebody makes it to the final stage and you don't get picked in the finals this year, but you made it to the final stage, as the following weeks, act like you're still in recruits. Last year, what they did is they gave out vouchers to people, and those vouchers were basically notes saying from Darius, hey, I have my eye on you still. I got a voucher even. And then I kept my content going as if I was recruits. I even used the hashtag Respawn Recruits for like the next 2 weeks after the competition was over. I kept adding Respawn in my tweets, in my videos. I made videos about Respawn. I used my chair as props and whatnot. And I did all this as if the competition was still going. And like I said, 3 to 4 weeks later, I got the DM and signed the contract and whatnot. And that's my biggest thing, man. It's just that no matter what the outcome of this is, do not let it like deflate you. And if you get upset, and that's, again, I think that's one half of competitive people, Mav, is that some of us get mad at the situation and some of us get mad at each other. I'm one of the people like you. I get mad at myself because I know I can do better.
That's what sets people aside too, by the way.
It is.
There are different people out there, and how they respond to situations is what takes them further in life. That's my firm belief. And you could apply that to so many different things, not just content creation. You know what I mean?
It is, dude. And like I said, my wife put it the best. It's loyalty for the company. You don't know how many people last year, and God bless them, because there are actually a couple of them I know. They're not friends, but they're acquaintances, and they were from certain teams that have a really big following. They have a big following. Excuse me, and they thought just by entering they were going to win. A lot of them were shocked when they got dropped off at that 250 mark, and obviously your boy kept, you know, rising and rising. And then one DM, he's like, I didn't even know you're still in it. He's like, how are you still in it? And I said, dude, I've been following this company for the last 3 years. I love this company. And the next thing I know, I noticed this year. I was like, they didn't enter, and you can't just enter just because you want some of the prizes or you think it's cool to be partnered. You got to have a love for the loyalty for the brand. And that's why since the first recruit all the way until the weeks after I was a finalist for the last one, I kept acting like I wanted a partnership with Respawn. I kept interacting in the off season. And let me tell you, man, this isn't really a tip. It's just a kind of a tidbit of just do what you want with the knowledge, because you can't give too much away. The Discord gets much more quiet after Respawn recruits ends. Much more quiet. Really? You'll notice right now, all these recruit tweets, they will give 300 to 500 replies, right? And then you'll notice during the year, Darius will tweet a random, like day, what are we going to approach? Let's say day 650 or 620, and then chair, whatever. And then you'll notice like 30 to 40 replies, if that. And then you kind of got to notice, like, the people that love the company, they'll still reply. They'll still make an effort to enjoy it, because they're entering recruits because they love the brand. They're not entering it to make a name for themselves. They're not entering it to make I know there's a cash prize this year. I wish I could re-enter it, but and they're not entering it for the prizes, the phase merch, and all that stuff, man. They enter it because they truly love the brand. Like I don't do anything if I don't believe in it. I would not be using this. I did not have bought this chair before recruits if I didn't believe in the product in itself. I don't use anything on stream product wise if I don't believe in it.
100%, man. And that's one of my biggest beliefs too when it comes to content creation. I only stand behind the companies who stand behind me and who I can firmly believe in. GXO, Gamer Pride, Juju. I mean, I don't just partner with these companies because I just to do it. I love the product. I wear the product. It's part of my everyday life.
Mm-hmm. That's the best way to look at it. Like I said, it kind of correlates to everything and how far you're willing to go for the loyalty of the brand. Like I said, I've worn glasses all my life, and Respawn provided me that aspect where I had something to provide now. And then a lot of people don't know how the story happened, but GA approached me, and I was completely shocked. And I wear glasses. I have an issue. I work in front of a computer screen all day. Obviously, you and I, we both stream at a nightly basis, so my eyes need to be protected. And they provided me their pitch, and it was they pitched me like that was odd to me.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
And whatnot. And I got the he's not with the company anymore, but the partnership manager I had, he told me, he's like, yeah, we think you'd be a great addition and whatnot, and we want you to use this product. And even obviously with some stuff behind the scenes, G Fuel is still a product I believe in through and through. I've been drinking G Fuel since this will be 10 years I've been drinking G Fuel. I drank it in 2012 September and October. It's a product I love day in and day out, and just what it has and all that stuff in between. So but other than that, cash prize, and I didn't enter, and everything else in between. So it's just it shows how much loyalty can go far, and that's the biggest tip or the biggest piece of advice I can give for what you can gain from it is your sense of loyalty for Respawn products and everything that can come in fruition. What is your favorite Juju?
Caramel apple squeeze. And
caramel apple.
Yeah, I'm so honestly, I say this as a joke, but I'm a basic white bitch through and through. Okay? I've tried all of the flavors. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 13 flavors readily available right now to try, or that I have tried. Caramel apple squeeze is my 100% favorite. 100%. Juju is great. It's healthy too. You guys should give it a try. Not just because I'm partnered and I get commissions and all that. Honestly, great product, and it's very healthy for you too.
No, definitely. Like I said,
yes, basic white bitches unite.
I will if the wife wants to ever give it a shot, and we'll use your code. We'll definitely, like I said, there's no beverage brand that I'm have any communication with currently, with everything going on. She's one of those people where caffeine doesn't do much to her, but she enjoys drinking a caffeine product just to give her a little bit of a boost here and there. So if she ever wants to, me going to the Jesus Christ, if she ever wants to give it a shot, then obviously if it's in the household,
listen,
I'll give it a shot, because I love beverages. I love beverages.
And then listen, they do have, here I am pitching Juju now, but they have sample packs that you can buy. So you're not buying a full tub. That's one of the biggest selling points of Juju, and it's amazing. You could try like 3 or 4 different kinds for like, $5 to $10. So definitely recommend it. It's way better than Monster, and it's better for you too. So, take a look at that.
I was gonna say, if Mama likes it, then it's got to be top tier, definitely.
100%. Well, listen, man, this has been a blast. We touched on a lot of different topics. Lastly, it's all about loyalty to the company. You have a really loyal community behind your back, which is really refreshing to see. So, Water Fam and the Wingmen, thank you guys so much for hanging out for the interview portion of Fly By With Maverick. If you guys don't mind hanging out a little bit longer, we're going to get some games in. I'm going to jump in Hydrated's backpack. He's going to carry me to some doves, hopefully.
Oh, God bless.
So we're going to swap over. We're going to get some... is Rebirth available, or are we still playing Fortune's Keep? Or did you want to play the big map? It's completely up to you.
I'm not. I'm more of a Rebirth or Fortune's Keep kind of person.
I'm cool with
yeah, it's...
You're not Warzone?
And then not Warzone. She used to be a Warzone fan, and then once, obviously, people got better, people had different play styles. It's because I used to be a full-time Warzone content creator myself, and then once Cold War came out with their league play return, their ranked return back to the Call of Duty community, that's where I kind of switched. But yeah, guys, if you guys haven't already, you guys have seen, first of all, Matt, thank you for having me on the podcast version. We're about to get a few games in here before everybody signs off for the night. But I appreciate you asking about my background and then the recruitment challenge. Again, my Water fam, thank you guys so much for supporting Mav as well, guys, because you guys know that how deep Respawn recruits ran for us last year. So we got to support those that are going for it this year, and it's not just him, but all the recruits.
I do appreciate it too. Show the love to all the other Respawn recruits if you can. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal hanging out tonight. Really appreciate the interaction. You guys listening to what I have to say, along with Austen. It's been absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so much. We're gonna jump over though. I'm gonna go to just chatting, guys, so you guys can see the rest of my background that you talked about earlier. Thank you guys for joining us on Fly By With Maverick, and we'll catch you next time. Dab for the dub.